I love the diversity of food in this country. I think it's really what makes it special for me. These immigrants that come to this country, like my dad and a lot of my friends' parents and a lot of my friends, are what make, America such a great place to come and eat. Hi, I'm Farideh Sadeghin. I'm the culinary director here at Munchies, and today I'll be making Ghormeh Sabzi. Ghormeh Sabzi is, some say, the Persian or Iranian national dish. So gourmet means stew, and sabzi means herb. So this is basically an herb stew that we're making. We've got all kinds of herbs in here. Usually the traditional ones that you use are scallions or green onions. And we've got some parsley, cilantro, and fenugreek. It's one of those ingredients that is actually super good for you. It actually aids in digestion, and some say that it helps induce labor. So we'll see. I'm not pregnant, but no, I'm kidding, sorry. We got some onions, we've also got some turmeric, kidney beans, salt, Persian limes, and we're gonna use fresh lime juice as well. We also have boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Traditionally, it's made with veal or beef or lamb. I'm using chicken. I prefer that. It kind of cooks better and it's nice and really tender. The best kind of pan to use when you're doing a stew like this is a nice heavy-bottomed kind of cast iron Dutch oven or saucepan. I'll get this hot and we'll brown some chicken thighs. So we'll just give these guys a nice little salt seasoning. There we go, nice and sizzling. So this is about 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thigh. And you do want to make sure you're coloring and browning your meat and your onions and everything. Like I said, it seals in the flavor of the chicken, but it's also gonna add a lot more flavor. This will take about 10 minutes to brown it. All right, while those are browning, I'm gonna slice up these onions. So just a nice thin slice. Give these guys a bit of a flip. So I grew up in a Persian household. My dad's Iranian. This dish is considered the Persian or the Iranian, national dish. It's often served during the Persian New Year, which it falls on the vernal equinox, which is the first day of spring. So usually around the March 20th, 21st, or 22nd. The Persian New Year is called Nowruz. There's a lot of symbolism surrounding the entire holiday. It makes sense that the Persian New Year happens in the spring because the spring is everything sprouting green. It just kind of symbolizes rebirth and new life. And you're eating a lot of things that have green colors, green hues. But you can eat this all the time, anytime, doesn't matter. So these are browning really well. I'll set them aside. And while these last few pieces are finishing up, I'm gonna add my onions in there too. While that goes, I'm gonna start to slice up my herbs. We'll start with the scallions, green onions. We're gonna knock the ends off those. And you can kind of like roughly chop them because we're going to cook these separately. We're gonna cook all the herbs. They're gonna get nice and just cook down a little bit. So you don't have to be perfect with your cuts. We're also gonna do a shitload of parsley. So we'll go like this, chop the shit out of it. This dish is something I grew up eating with my family, my sister, my mom, my dad. My mom was a teacher, so coming home from school every day, she was the one who usually would cook for us. My dad was working a bit later, but on the times when my dad did cook, it was always some kind of Persian feast. He makes bomb-ass Persian rice and tarik, which means bottom of the pot. It's like the crispy rice on the bottom. This dish is just one of those ones that, I don't know, I love making. It's super easy. So cilantro, same deal. 1 bunch, 1 cup, and the fenugreek as well. Fresh fenugreek. It's not super easy to find in supermarkets, to be quite honest. I found this at a Middle Eastern specialty store. You're probably more likely to find dried fenugreek leaves. It looks something like this, but this ingredient is really what makes Ghormeh Sabzi Ghormeh Sabzi. Another rough chop on this. All right, so that's pretty good. Add that into my bowl over here. So I'm gonna add in a little bit of oil. That's nice and hot. That is just gonna cook right down. These greens, they take about 20 minutes to kind of really cook down. So I can already smell all those herbs kind of cooking. You can smell that fresh fenugreek. So green. You could dump this into anything and it would brighten it right up. You probably could actually add it in the pot of chicken and onions right now and like let it cook in there with it. This is just kind of the way my dad does it, so that's the way I'm doing it. So into my pot of chicken and onions, I'm going to add 2 cups of water. The other ingredients that are traditional in Ghormeh Sabzi are kidney beans. So I've soaked these overnight. Let's say you're ready to cook and you totally forgot to soak your beans. shame. You can bring a pot of water to boil, dump it over the dry beans, let it soak for an hour instead of overnight, and they'll come out fine. On the other hand as well, if you completely don't even have dry beans, but you have canned beans, that's cool too. If you're using canned beans, you're gonna wanna drain them and add them in like a half an hour after you start the cooking time. So I'm gonna add these beans into my pot. That's about a cup's worth. I'll put a lid on this and let it cook for maybe like 10 minutes. The other thing I'm going to add into this pot are Persian limes. You can totally find these in, a specialty market. You can also order them online. You can also make them. You can take regular limes or key limes, boil them in brine water, and then you're going to drain them and then let them dry out until they're shriveled up like, kind of like this, like little deflated ping pong balls. So you can use these whole in stews. The way I'm gonna do it is just to poke a little hole into these. All that liquid from the stew is gonna absorb into this, and as it does that too, it's gonna release a lot of the flavor. As a kid, we just would have like bowls of dried up, sad looking limes. So one time as a kid, I had friends coming over and there was a bowl of limes. They'd been sitting there for months, just like dried up and like almost all the way dried and shriveled. And I took them and threw them away, and my dad nearly lost his shit at me. And now the funny thing is, I actually now, like when I have sad looking limes in my fridge, I just put them in a bowl in the cupboard. I have new roommates move in and I'm like, just FYI, I know there's like rotting limes in the cupboard. It's okay, they're used for cooking. And they're like, okay, whatever you say. So I'm adding, the 4 Persian limes into here. Put the lid on that. We'll bring that to a boil. While that's happening, I'm gonna juice about a 1/4 cup of these fresh limes as well. The mixture of the lime juice and like with all the fresh herbs just really is a nice aromatic. So we're gonna add all these herbs back into the stew. And I'm gonna add fresh lime juice. This stew may not look super thick right now. It's gonna thicken because we've used dried kidney beans in here. And as the kidney beans cook, they're gonna soak up and absorb a lot of that liquid, and it's just gonna thicken as it cooks. So I'm gonna put the lid on this guy, let it cook at a low simmer for about an hour, hour and a half. While I'm doing that, normally I'd be making Persian rice with the nice tahdig. Today I'm not gonna do that. I want this to be like kind of a lighter meal, so I'm gonna do some brown rice, and I'll do it with a nice yogurt sauce, like a cucumber yogurt. And then a cucumber tomato salad to serve with it. Next time, use as small as bowl as possible to mix things. That's my tip. So this guy has been cooking for about an hour, hour and a half. It smells really fucking good. You can still smell all like these limes in here. You can see they're nice and soft now. God, so good. The beans are nice and tender. The chicken, they've broken up kind of into like shredded a little bit, but just so tender. This is 1 serving for one hungry gal. I'm waiting for it to induce my labor. So we're gonna serve this with a little bit of brown rice, just nicely in there. We're gonna put a little bit of the Ghormeh Sabzi in here. So another thing is though, don't eat the limes. Like these limes, I know they're nice and soft now. Don't eat them. Like they're not, I guess you can, but I wouldn't. We're gonna also serve a little bit of, this is like a Shirazi salad and yogurt sauce. A little bit of that. And if you really wanna know the right way to eat Persian food, is we always put, knife, fork, spoon on the table. But the reason you have a spoon when you eat your rice is because if you don't eat with the fork, you're gonna push all your food onto the spoon, and then you're eating with the spoon. That's the way. That's the way the real Persians do it. That's the right way to eat in general, okay? I'll get a big bite. I always do that. It's hot. It's good. It's really good though. I'm crying now.